let's just get this out of the way. What do you think of the weather?
Okay, obviously I have to talk about the weather on every podcast. Will is bringing this up because he produces my podcast, and I have a disease where every time I bring up the weather, it's really cold.
I co-produce your podcast, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't want
Jacqueline Laurie Edwards is the other co-producer at Jack So Whack on Instagram.
You're already plugging. You're getting so good at this.
Getting my socials plugged.
I always am careful to say co-produce because I'm like, one day I'm gonna get like reamed out by somebody. That's
okay. That's fair. Although, like, to me, it's like
the patriarchy.
Yeah, like I don't know. I produce a show and I technically co-produce it. But like I would refer to it as like I produce this, and I think Anna.
Oh really?
Anna, my co-producer, would also say
Pucker Comedy.
My show Pucker Comedy.
So you don't give Anna any credit every time.
I will say if people are asking about it, but I assume she also says like
I produce
a show. Like
really, I feel like if I did that, I would always say like
usually I'll say I produce it with Anna Koppelman, but I won't say like I'll usually if people are like, do you produce a show? I'll be like, oh yeah. Me and Anna Koppelman.
Is that like that? Why does that like you make it sound like that's the first thing they ask?
You'd be amazed.
Move up. We're trying out a new.
Yeah.
I'm trying out.
I'm already doing it.
Style here of seating people, and I feel like.
Jimmy Fallon. Like you can't see me.
Well, only because I'm turning like backwards over.
Oh yeah, I guess I can sit like this. Yeah, this makes sense. Should I look at the camera?
Only look at the camera. Don't look at me.
Yeah, no.
No, that's funny. I also forgot to mention like I look at the camera a lot to make sure it's fucking running.
Yeah.
And I look at my laptop because I am the one man show here. I'm producing and everything. So it's not that I'm ever disinterested in with what you're saying, although it's how I mask.
So far though, I am only talking about the weather and if we should say co in front of produce. So if you weren't interested.
It's great. Are you saying that this is a bad start to the show?
It's my fault. But it's because I have to talk about the weather on every episode of my own podcast. And today is exceptionally cold. It's like 10 degrees out. I went for a run this morning and I wore 2 pairs of pants. I wore a mask because it's so cold.
All right. Not even 5 minutes
that I was going to bring up running.
100%.
Yeah, but
by the way,
but it's because it's related to how cold it is.
Since you're peeking at my notes, I made sure to put it. Look at this. Do you see this?
No, I can't read that. Marathon runner.
Number 1, because I knew that you would have to mention it. So let's just get it out of the way.
Today I ran 2 miles.
Great.
I did not run far.
Uh-huh.
I ran 2 miles.
Way to run shame everyone out there that put in a mile.
People. I did feel like pretty badass that I still ran even though it was 10 degrees out.
Wow. My God, Grace.
Yeah, good start.
So you run for the ego, not for like health.
A little. No, it's health. Well, I think it's a little bit bad for my health at this point because my knees don't care for it at all. But you run also.
Not right now. Like I haven't ran. I think I went most of 2024 without running.
Okay.
Before that, like for years,
this is conflicting information because I have on my podcast you saying I also run.
Well, I think that I would see like to call myself a runner. It's not hard for me to get out and run, and like I could do
you could do like a 5K
right
pretty, yeah.
Like it's still
okay.
Like,
prove it.
there.
Let's go. Lace up.
my Nike Run app is still in my phone. We can link up.
If your Nike Run app's in your phone, you're a runner.
There you go. That's what I mean. Like I still have the gear and I could get out and I could do it, and it wouldn't be this like huge undertaking.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, this makes sense.
Because for other people, like if they don't touch running at all, the idea of starting
would be like, really intimidating.
Right. For me, it's like no, I can go out and do it like right now. It's more. I know it's just pure laziness and I've let the seller schedule.
That's valid.
Get to me a little bit, but I was able to do it bartending at other places. It's just that sometimes after the seller, I just get like really, you know what it is actually, and I realized this while I was running in Bushwick when I first moved here. Running in Queens, I love.
Oh, here
immensely.
Yes,
and I lived. It was literally 1 mile away from Flushing Meadow Park, which is like one of the greatest parks in all of New York. So my running was way more scenic and easy. And running in Bushwick,
it sucks. It's like
red lights everywhere.
No.
When I first started running
there's
here,
like a cemetery you could in theory run in. That's the best option.
And it's a weird option.
And it's weird. Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want to run where people are like mourning
or dead.
Yeah.
It's kind of braggy. It's
So,
like, well, look at what I can do.
Look what,
You're dead.
Much more active than you.
You're lazy.
George
Yeah,
Seymour.
see, if it sounds like I'm judging people for running only 2 miles, think how it would be if I just went and showed off in front of dead people.
Ran through the during a funeral.
During a funeral. Sorry, guys. Hi.
On your left.
Most of my running clothes are black, so it's fine. It's like there's a little bit of reflective,
right.
But yeah, I think that makes sense. I live on the Upper East Side, so I run in Central Park, and then I also work from home, so that's like an unfair advantage because I literally don't do anything physical all day.
I believe that if I wasn't commuting and working such late hours,
it's too much. It's exhausting. It's too much. Like if you are, I can like wander out at noon and then like go for a run and like wander back in, and then you can shower in the middle of the day.
What I have to get my body used to, and maybe it's just the fact that I don't know what it's like to be in my late 30s anymore, or because back when I was at my best shape, I was able to at least get into the mindset of running early on and still like going to work afterwards. But nowadays, I feel like if I'm running, that's the thing I'm doing that day.
Okay, I get that.
And it's like such a I think what really fucked with me too is that like I had this like month straight where I was listening to this is one of the most bro-y things I'll ever say.
I'm excited.
I was listening
on a podcast.
I was listening to an audiobook by David Goggins.
Sure.
And I'm sure
Yep, it's lining up.
I'm sure it was because he was just on Joe Rogan or something like that.
Of course, yeah.
And he was like, you just gotta fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, I do just have to fucking do that shit.
You're like on the run, you're investing in crypto at the same time. You're listening to David Goggins.
I had money in Robinhood, the crypto app,
yeah.
you know,
Did it do well or no?
I, by accident, sold most of what I had right before everything crashed. Now,
insider trading.
Now, I wasn't in, you know, I didn't have anything invested when it just rose back up after the election, but... Had I not sold when I did, I wouldn't have been able to sell for a profit for like another 3 or 4 years.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm not like I don't have enough money where like I could just let like a couple of thousand.
Yeah,
like,
it's not.
Like,
I'm
so
not like that either.
When I sold when I did, and like at the time I was like, I felt stupid because I'm like I'm not a finance guy. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And then it never came up like for like a year or two. I was like, whoa, good move, me. You know,
good
like,
for you.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Especially because it led to like paying for like all the Christmas gifts that year or whatever.
Oh, hell yeah.
Whatever. They worked out. But
that is very Robin Hood narrative to then have it all pay for all the Christmas presents.
But what was happening with me on these running escapades was that I would go out for like a 5K and then David Goggins is in my ear yelling about how he refused to give up during Navy SEAL camp.
And it's the same.
And like you can see in my Nike Run app, like there's just a string of runs that for no reason it's like 10 miles, 8 miles, 12 miles,
so
13
crazy.
miles. And like my girl at the time, now my wife, she'd be like at home and I come back 2 hours later, she'd be like, you were gone a long time.
She's like, I was gonna file a missing persons report. Like,
because you don't
know how close you were.
Early on in our relationship, when I would go out for a run, you know, and 5K run, I'd probably be back in about 35, 40 minutes or whatever. Then there'd be times I'd stay out for like over an hour and she'd be like, where were you? And I would show her the app and she'd be like, it was almost like that's when she realized.
That you're showing her the app. You're like, no,
proof.
I was, this is how far I ran.
She's going to be like, the bar is
like,
also
yeah, you were
right
sitting
there.
in a bar. That's...
I just hire someone to run with my phone.
No, you tie it to a dog. You're just like... See?
The most erratic running routes ever.
Wait, okay, you ran into this car, you ran into the street. That doesn't make sense.
Were you in a sewer?
Yeah, tie it to one of your cats. That's perfect.
Yeah. So you shame people for their distance of running.
Well, I guess.
You do?
I guess, yeah.
Do you run every week?
I right now am trying to build back from it sounds like I'm gonna say build back better. From hurting my feet last summer. Right now I run 20 miles a week, but I'm trying to get back up to like 40.
So you do run every week?
Yeah, I run a ton.
So
every week.
what the fuck was that? Do you run every week?
Well, I don't know.
Instead of just
like,
yes, you found a way to
be
tell
like, and
us
here's how much.
minimum. No one asked. You know,
Yeah,
like no one asked about the 20.
A little,
I asked
a little.
if you run every week. That's a
Yeah.
It's a yes or no. You know.
Okay.
Like
Yes, I run every week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But you're like 20 right now.
Yeah.
40 ideally.
Yeah, I do want to hit 40. But I mean, there's people who are like, I run 80 miles a week. It's like, I'm never going to run 80 miles a week.
Uh-huh.
That's
how you justify.
That's crazy.
Being so shitty.
Well,
about your running.
I feel a little bit like a running imposter because I picked it up probably like 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
So to me, I'm like, I never did cross country. I never did I also am not in a running club. Just want to put that out there.
You seem like you would be the type that would
To do cross country or join a run club.
Running club.
I know, that's why I want to make it clear that
cross country too, a little bit. But
cross country is like a
club,
nerdy sport, so yeah.
Yeah.
But I did swim team, which is kind of nerdy.
Yeah.
It's just nerdy in the winter.
I don't know if that's nerdy.
The kids on swim team were pretty nerd forward.
Like
at my school.
Nerdier than you, or you fit in?
No, I fit right in.
Were you a nerd in school?
Huge.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a huge overachiever, which obviously tracks. Was like probably annoying about it.
Connecticut?
Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Way better. It's like Connecticut, but with like personality.
What?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Connecticut kind of has like
and more crime.
It's like more white bread, and I feel like Jersey is more like because people hate it so much. It's like, oh, that's kind of.
But you're in a nice area of Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, don't say it like that. You could be more humble.
Oh well, yeah. It's
yeah, plenty of room to run 20
plenty
miles.
of room to run around. I did track. There was a thing at my school where you could get a gym exemption if you were playing a sport that season.
Okay.
So like you didn't have to go to gym, you got a study hall instead, which I was like, hell yeah, because I always played a sport.
That's the most opposite sentence I would have ever thought of. Like in my head, I'm like, who would want to
Well, study hall you could
gym?
just chill. Gym was I hated getting sweaty in the middle of the day. That sucked.
That does suck.
You just would go, and then gym was never I like sports. I liked swim team. I played tennis, and then I played lacrosse for a couple years.
Dude, I was about to say name a whiter sport. What?
Yeah, and I got lacrosse. I got you. Just try me. You want badminton? What do you want next?
Golf.
Yeah. Oh, well, I did go to golf camp and sailing camp as a child.
Polo? Any polo?
No. Please, we're not. They were comfortable, but
Jeez, you're like, I was into sports, like tennis and croquet.
Yeah.
Horseshoes.
Yeah, the classics. But I would go on these. I went to get the gym exemption. I joined track. I quit lacrosse and I joined track my junior spring.
Just to get out of gym.
Because I was like a study hall, way more fun. You don't have to do anything. Gym was just like playing volleyball against boys, and then you can't then you just have to go back to class and be sweaty.
Study hall's a free period.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's just like a chill free period. You could get your homework done, kind of, because I was a nerd. Obviously, that's what I was doing.
Sure.
But I joined track and I didn't really care about it. So I did distance running. Mm-hmm. So they'd be go for a 7-mile run. So I'd do the warm up and then I would go run behind the school and I would call my dad and he would come get me and then I would go home.
Wait, do you never come back?
No, because I was it would take people so long to go for the run that they'd be yeah, don't worry about it. If you just leave and be I went on the run.
This is a team?
A track team at my high school.
This is how you guys practiced.
Well, other people did the run, and other people who were fast would go with the coach, and they'd all go on a 7-mile run in the hills, and they'd be back in an hour. Okay. But I was clearly not a good runner, so at the time, I obviously also at the time there's no way I could have run 7 miles. So I was just I'd either run to Dairy Queen with this girl Teresa that I was friends with, and we would get ice cream at Dairy Queen, and then we would eat it in the woods behind the school, and then we would come back and be yeah, we ran 5 miles
and got fatter.
And somehow. We got fatter. Yeah. Yeah.
And your coach would
I kept getting fatter.
Your coach would just never hold you accountable for.
I mean, it would always be the race, and then I pretend I had shin splints. Shin splints is kind of a catch-all injury. Although one time that did catch up to me because they were okay, well, if you have shin splints, you have to go to the trainer and put your feet in an ice bath. And I was I really don't want to do that. But I also definitely can't run 7 miles because I've been lying to you guys this whole time. I've just been going to Dairy Queen. I haven't been going to practice.
So did you never do it? Did you never compete?
Never. I competed once. I ran the 800 once, and I came in last by a lot.
How long were you on a team? 4 years?
No. I did lacrosse my freshman and sophomore year. Then I got in a fight with a girl on the team.
You were on the lacrosse team?
I was the goalie.
Huh? Did you even try, or were you like?
Did I try a goalie?
If you don't, obviously you didn't want to be a part of the running team or whatever.
No, I really tried at swim team.
Lacrosse?
Like I was the captain of the swim team. Like I was good at that. I cared about. I did not care about tennis. I just did it to go to college. Like I was like, okay, I have to do activities, so I will get into college.
Yeah.
Then lacrosse, I didn't care that much about, but then I got in a fight with a girl on the team. So she was okay. The goalie is like, it's hard to be goalie because there's a lot of pressure, and also your whole team has let you down by the time it gets to the goalie. You're kind of the last line of defense, so you're supposed to be like boys with the defense, like you're supposed to be friends with them.
Yeah.
But one time I like missed. I was just like
boys with your teammates, by the way.
Yes,
you're supposed to be.
So this is what I think. This is what I think. But this girl, so I'd like missed a couple of saves. Which, if they're shooting on goal, defense, you've already fucked up.
I love that you guys are just blaming each other.
I wasn't gonna blame them, but then she came in. She goes, "I missed a save," and it was just like we're having a tough game, whatever. And it's like obviously I didn't want to miss it, but she goes, "Grace, come on," and I was like. I screamed at her on the field. I was like 15 and I was like, shut the fuck up in the middle of the game. Well, okay. I was just like, you're my teammate. I clearly didn't want to fuck that up, but like you missed before I missed. So then I had to do track instead.
Wait, did you get kicked off the team? Or?
No. In fact, everybody, I don't think I said shut the fuck up. I said shut up. I was like, leave me alone. Like I'm trying to do this. Like it's not helping that you're being like, come on, like get it together. Because that's not good, like, team.
No, but it also sounds like pretty normal sports back and forth.
Yeah. But well, then afterwards, she came up to me in the locker room and was like, she tried to spin it that, like, I had been bitchy to her. And she waited till no one else was around. And she was like, hey, what'd you say to me when we were out on the field? And I was like, I told you to shut up. And she was like, yeah, that's what I thought. And then she, like, walked away. And I was like, and then I cried because I was really upset.
Female sports, everybody.
Women sports. Yeah, women in sports. Let's get some trans women in there because we actually probably need you.
Then you'll start winning. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just, I don't know. It was stupid.
And you quit or what? Like
then the coach was like, I heard like you and the girl, like I heard you guys like because then the story pivoted that it was like the way she had treated me in the game was like not appropriate because I was like I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I like snapped at you on the field. But then it pivoted to everyone was like, no, she can't talk to you like that. Like you're the goalie.
That's so. I mean, I played football when I was a freshman in high school.
CT.
I mean, I definitely got knocked unconscious twice. So,
oh shit!
Yeah, and it was a long enough time ago that there was no worry about concussion or CT.
Yeah, so you didn't take like the concussion baseline.
No,
you didn't do any of that stuff?
Didn't exist. That didn't exist.
That's crazy.
Like even in pro NFL, if you had gotten knocked unconscious on the field, you could have gone in a couple of plays later. Whereas
that's fucking nuts.
Now, if anyone sees that you're knocked unconscious in the game, like by rule, you are not allowed to come back into that game.
Which is
that makes sense.
That's a good rule.
It was a badge of honor to go back into a game after being knocked unconscious.
Oh my God.
And so I got knocked unconscious twice. Once was in practice by my own teammate. That's how like much that was not policed back then. Like and everyone was like,
and you're also 14. Like freshman year, you're a baby.
I might have been 13 at the time because my birthday's on Christmas. So so I was 13.
Wait, where did you grow up?
Queens.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to St. Francis Prep.
December is the cutoff.
Yes, and I barely made it like by 5 days. So I was always on the younger side. And I remember we were practicing kickoffs and this guy, someone I never got playing time until like the end of the game when we were getting blown out.
Right.
And same thing for this other guy. And he just leveled me. I never saw it. He leveled me. And I remember when I came to, most people were just like, good hit, good hit, whatever. Like, meanwhile, if that were to happen now, they'd be like, he's your fucking teammate.
Yeah, like, what the fuck was that? Yeah.
And then the one time it happened in a game, it was in the fourth quarter when we were getting blown out. And I got knocked unconscious and I came to, Jesus. And I remember my lineman coach, the way that he hyped me up to get back into the game was that he was like, you don't want me to have to put our starters back in the game there, do you? It was like we shouldn't be wasting our good players right now.
Oh my God.
So like, this is how you support the team. This is how you, and in my head at the time, I was like, yeah, like fucking remember the Titans. Let's go run out there.
I mean, listen, I love a like suck it up and get in there like sports story.
Yeah.
Like the Carrie Strug Olympics. Do you know that one?
What? The Carrie
Strug in the Olympics?
Oh, the
it's a little gymnast who does the vault on the broken leg or whatever.
Was me. That was exactly
That was
me.
you. Yeah. But I mean, that story.
The 30-point loss.
Yeah. To ultimately just lose. You don't win the gold.
We did.
And it's like
to lose
JV.
without our best players on the team. That was my winning moment.
That is. You only played freshman year?
I knew immediately that I did not want to play for the rest of the year.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. I grew up playing a lot of sports because my mom was just the type that would put me in everything. So I played a little bit of baseball, soccer, football,
croquet,
even
polo.
like gymnastics. Yeah, tennis, hockey.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, so like YMCA type stuff. She would put me into like that stuff early on. Ice skating even.
Yeah. I'm a horrible ice skater.
I'm not bad actually. Like I'm at least like not a novice. Like I don't hold on to the boards all the time. Like, I can get around. I could do like a little 360 spin. Yeah. So I think that's where I think I rollerbladed before I ice skated. But both of them I did pretty early on, like inline skating technically. Like rollerblade is the name of a company.
Oh yeah, actually this
it's like Band-Aid and adhesive bandage.
or like Kleenex.
Yeah. So rollerblade is like it's inline skating.
Inline skating. My apologies.
I only know that because
sponsored by inline skating, not by rollerblading.
Not by rollerblading.
We're not giving them press.
But I was always like good enough to not be the absolute worst player on the team.
Like the star. You're not going to go to college.
I was always the second worst player on the team.
Okay, sure.
Basically,
Yeah.
Where at least I could make fun of one other person.
That's good. That's kind of all you need.
Yeah. Like I tell the story. The only way I ever started in baseball, I was the second baseman, and I was actually like legitimately better than the starting second baseman.
Right.
And he was the only player on the team I could say that about, probably.
Okay.
But he was the coach's nephew. So I just wasn't
classic
gonna
nepotism.
play. And then in the beginning of the season, like 2 or 3 games in, he kept making all the errors, and I was like, I can beat him. At least do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. He got hit by a car, and
Will's driving it,
and the whole team, the whole team was sad, and then I'm like in the back, like on a knee, like yes, and then I started at second for the rest of the year.
Was he okay?
He couldn't play baseball,
but he's alive.
Yeah. Like in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. No.
Oh my God! I was like, holy shit.
No, he was fine.
He's Special Olympics baseball from here on out.
That's
wild.
Played against your brother. Or something.
Yeah, he plays against my brother. My brother used a wheelchair for those two. He's not an impressive athlete, I will say. But
wow, was he before?
He's born with.
So
no.
So that's a no.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a no. There's no before.
Do you brag to him about your 20 miles a week?
I do want to run. I want to run the New York City Marathon, and I want to do it for like a charity that's like spinal cord injuries. And I do think it's a little braggy to be like, yeah, oh, you can't? Well, not only I'm making this about you, but it's actually about
really
me.
about me. Yeah.
I also, this is the most ego attention-y thing ever, but I would love to run it like with him. So like put like him in like a jogging like wheelchair.
Would you have to like
each of us enter?
Yeah.
No, because I looked into it once, and like the charity you do it with will just kind of like because it's like enough of it. Like the thing is, he would hate it. Like he would be like, he doesn't like coming to the city. Like he doesn't like sports. He loves sports, but like he doesn't want to like participate in them.
Okay.
Like he would be like even if I was like, come watch the marathon, like he wouldn't really want to do that.
It would be the best if you did it like. If you force him the entire time,
I'm gonna.
And the entire 26 miles, he's just like begging for someone to stop.
He's like, fuck this, help. Like, please, I'm being kidnapped.
His sign says like, I'm kidnapped against my will.
I think it would be fun, and like, I don't know.
Me.
I think that would be fun. But yeah, that's really attention seeking.
So you think that there's some ego behind you wanting to do that?
There's a little bit of ego, but I also just think it would be like a fun like bonding thing to like. Even though he'd hate it.
Do it for the
But I mean, I wouldn't be enjoying. Like, it's not.
I've wondered this. Do you think it's easier or harder to run with him?
I think it would be harder.
Because you're because
Pushing
I
something.
wondered like once you get momentum.
No, because you
going,
can
could you,
lean
like,
on
rest
it in
yeah.
certain things, but I think overall it's harder because
Okay.
it's just a lot. I mean, he weighs like 120 pounds, so that's an extra 120, like uphill.
I guess I don't know how many uphills there are in the course.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna run the New York City Marathon together, you, me, and my brother.
Yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah, that's our plan.
I told you my thing about the marathon, right? Like,
I don't think so.
there was one time where I had gone back to school.
Okay.
And I went back for this essentially for like music production and audio engineering and whatnot.
I didn't realize that. Cool.
And one of the first courses I took when I went back, so I was like 30 in a classroom full of like 18-year-olds.
Sure.
And I gave myself, you had to take one physics course for the program for some reason.
That makes no sense, but yeah.
And my advisor said that everyone that does audio engineering takes a physics of sound course because it's the most related to what you're. And I'm like, great, cool, fine, I'll do that. And it's all about sound waves and how you measure them and whatnot. And it was, I put it as like one of the first classes I take. And he said, my advisor said, usually people leave this class for last because it's the toughest class you'll probably do in your entire tenure here. My thinking was
get it out of the way.
Get it out of the fucking way. Yeah.
I feel the same way.
So I did that. And what I realized was not only is physics obviously as hard as physics is known to be, I forgot math.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So like everyone's adding a fraction.
Sure.
The dumbest 18-year-old to my right.
They just did it.
They just did it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, holy shit. My professor, who's like 3 years older than me, is like talking about like,
oh my God.
Like, so this wave and X forms and this and that. And then she's explaining that. And she's like, and everybody just knows how to do this fraction part. And then I just hear like pens writing fractions. And I'm like, hold up.
I don't know how to do that.
How do you
oh my God.
do the fraction thing?
Yeah, that's like showing them at a class that's like for a language. And you're like, oh, I actually don't know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or like if you're taking a typing class in Russian.
Yeah.
And everyone else already knows Russian and is learning the keyboard.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I also don't know Russian.
Yeah.
And I'm also the only one. Like a lot of people have jobs, right? But they have like
a lot of people do have jobs.
No, I mean like in my class, you stupid fucking moron. I mean like a lot of my 18-year-old coworkers, like they would have jobs, but their jobs is like I work at H&M, you know,
right?
Like
yeah.
I work as a cashier, you know.
Sure.
When they be like, what do you do? I'm like, I just closed the bar at 4 a.m. last night, 3 hours ago.
Yeah,
you know?
that's like
I'm after a 12-hour shift on 2 hours sleep. Like I'm here. And now I am on no sleep and I can't
I'm trying to remember what a fraction is. Yeah. Multiplying fractions also, but also all of it you can do in a calculator. Now that's why it's like.
I mean, I think it mattered for like testing and stuff.
I guess, yeah. But like.
All I remember is that I had to, I would meet up with the professor outside of class to be tutored in math.
Okay.
To be able to start doing the physics.
It's crazy.
And I hadn't studied like that even when I was in high school and college. I don't think I had really studied like that because I failed out of college my first time around. I just didn't do it.
Where did you go for the program? In the city?
Went for music and that was in Queens also, Queensboro Community College.
Cool.
Which is just like a whatever. It's one of the few colleges that has that program like at that affordable price or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's not like it was this like a prestigious school or whatever. But it was that class was like the hardest I think I ever studied for a class. But
now you're amazing at physics.
Yeah, right. Well, the funny thing is that like I was like frustrated, and the teacher saw me like I'm like bitching, like I'm like behind.
I'm gonna
like,
fail because of this.
And then the first test came back and I had the highest score in the class. And I was like, that's when I was like, oh, like if I try hard at something, I can do stuff or whatever.
I do feel like people who go back to school at like I went to college at 18 and I was like being an idiot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I went to college now, I wouldn't know how to do math, obviously. I'd have to remember how to do math. But like I feel like I'd get such good grades because it's like
you're attacking it with a different state of mind.
Just a different, like you're used to just like a different mindset and like
A lot of the kids there gravitated towards me. Like whenever there was like a group project or something,
Yeah.
like everyone wanted me to be a part of their group, even though like I'm in classes with like musicians that have played piano for years, and I don't even know what what C notes are or whatever, you know.
Wait, so what? You don't have a music background at all?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I'm in school for music.
Do you do music now, or is it just music production?
Music production, right?
Gotcha.
So like I had to learn how to play the piano. I had to learn what keys were.
Yeah.
And like I still can't really read music that well, but I can at least like I can if you give me all the time in the world, I can like fuck around like with programs where you can actually compose music and stuff like that. But I needed to learn essentially like I needed to know how to translate, oh, this would sound good, dun, 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 and how to fuck what is that sound? Like, oh, you're doing an F minor.
Like I can play piano and I wouldn't be able to be like dun, 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 dun. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, that's like C, F, G. Like I don't have that kind of brain. That's a G major chord.
I don't have that. I had no idea what any of those.
I know I could, if you said play a G major chord, I could do it. But like if you were like, which one of these is a G major chord, and you played a bunch, I'd be like,
right. So the reason it like what I do now, like, or how it helps me is I'll find a sound, but I at least know how to tweak it now based on the music and music theory that I've learned a little bit. But anyways, the whole reason I even brought up that physics thing, and I'm pretty good at remembering like why we started talking about topics.
That is a good skill.
That class, when I took that final, it was like the most I've ever like studied and worked for a final, and I felt really good after it. And I remember like I had even like stopped smoking weed for like 2 or 3 months and the moment that I got home from that final, I got dressed in my running gear and because I did that physics course, I was like, I can do like anything, whatever. And I had just had so much pent up energy that I went running, and I had no goal in mind. And I just kept running and kept running and kept running. And I hit
Forrest Gump.
I hit 25 miles.
Holy shit.
Yeah, just no train. I hadn't ran in like a couple of months, no training, nothing. Just out of nowhere, just ran 25 miles.
How sore were you the next day?
Well, here's the thing. I told myself, all right, I'm running the marathon.
Yeah.
And I got like kind of I don't know, like I kind of like was out of it towards the end.
Sure. That
I stopped and I posted. I was like, ran my first marathon today.
Right.
And I posted the picture of my route like on Instagram. And a friend of mine like actually I DM'd me. He goes like congratulations, but you did 25 and not 26. And I honestly started crying.
Oh no.
I started crying because I will still to this day I will never tell anyone I've ever ran a marathon.
I mean, I guess you haven't, but that is still very impressive.
But for me, it's a reminder of like one of the biggest like fuck ups I've ever made. Oh my god! There's no pride in my running 25 miles.
I think you should have pride in running 25 miles.
And it's
impressive.
To if I just say to someone I've ran 25 miles before, then they're impressed.
Yeah, but that's a random. If someone says, "Has anyone ever run a marathon?" and you're like, "Okay, so I was taking this physics class."
Like what the fuck? It's like, too long of a no. You didn't.
Yeah, then I guess the answer's the last. I was like, it's 26 miles in the last 0.2. I will say, okay, I think part of why I bring it up or like feel a little bit of like defensive about how much I run is because I've been doubted. Like when I first ran the marathon, I was talking to my now ex-boyfriend's friend, and this happened. It was like 6 people that this happened with. And I said something about like having run, because it was like it happened that month. And I made like I was like, well, like I just something about marathon. And he was like, well, half marathon. And it was like 6 people all were like, well, it was a half marathon. Calm down. And
they were correcting you.
Yes. And I was like, no, I ran a marathon. I ran a half marathon and then I ran another half marathon. I ran 26. Not, and obviously a half marathon is also really impressive, but I was just, it's, one is twice as long. Give me the credit for the one that I did. Sure. So I feel a little bit like sometimes, and then I also had a friend, and I think she meant this in a nice way, but after I ran a marathon, she signed up to run a marathon. And another friend said the same, 2 people said this to me. They were both like, seeing you run a marathon made me realize that I could do it. Wow. And I was like, fuck you guys. That's so mean. So, I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm inspiring. Yeah. You were like, if Grace Lobo can run a marathon.
You didn't take that as like, I'm an inspiring person.
No, I mean, because me me being able, the part of it that's inspiring is like, wow, if she can do it. Wow, if Grace Lobo can get off her ass and run a fucking marathon. So that I think is kind of why I have such a like, do you guys know I actually ran a marathon? Because I'm kind of like, no one thinks that I have.
See, so now here's the beauty of that. You take these two
they created a monster.
Two friends in your life,
yes,
and then had turned you into like an absolute like
huge douche.
Jerk about it for everyone else.
Yes,
yeah. That's why.
Yeah, it was like 10 people. Like I think it was like, because it's multiple people. Like one of my friends, she's so sweet. She wrote me a card. It was also right after I'd run the marathon, and she had been living with me for like, we were roommates for a little while, and she wrote me a card that was like to like the funny, like it was like all these things I do. She's like stand-up comedy doing, like bread baking, like half marathon running, and I was like yeah. And it's like it's not a small difference, like a half marathon, because you ran a half marathon and you ran another half marathon. Like it's two of those. I'm like, give me the full credit. What
was the card for?
It was like my birthday. She wrote me like a note, which was really sweet.
No, but you
and I didn't correct her, but I was just like, it's just because in my head I'm like, everyone is like, yeah, you run a half marathon, and it is half marathon again. Very impressive.
Are you still friends with her?
Yes. Oh my god, I love this girl. I thought this
ended your friendship.
No, I love her, and I honestly would never. I actually hope she can't tell it's about her from. If she hears
Let's
this.
Tag her. What's her name?
No.
Your friend.
Because I don't want her to hurt her feelings like she
hurt yours.
Yeah, she hurt mine.
Wow.
Well, I was just like, it was actually a full marathon, but
you should just edit it.
I just like I mail it back to her. I'm like crossed out.
Can you just fix that and initial it here?
You guys know I ran a full marathon, right? That was how much?
Date and initial so people know it's you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Fingerprint too.
Did you Connecticut? No, I keep thinking Connecticut with you.
That's an insult, but it's fine.
Do you have family in Connecticut now?
Nope.
You know, in a
it's because I seem like I would play lacrosse. I look like I'm from Connecticut. Yeah. I seem like I go skiing. Yeah, it's no. That's the vibe I'm giving.
Do you ski?
I did as a child a little bit. It wasn't a good like family vacation for us because my brother not being able to.
He ruined
and my
it.
Dad's not a skier either, but my mom grew up skiing. I fell off a chairlift once as a kid though, so
was it really high?
No, it was like towards the end of the chairlift, but I just like got off and then the chairlift hit me in the back of the head.
Oh yeah, I've seen
That's
that.
why I'm like this.
That's why I run now.
Yeah, I just leapt to my. It was because you're getting off. Do you ever ski?
I have. I snowboard.
I'm a terrible. I hate it. Like I don't. I love the vibe of a ski trip. Like I like the cabin in the snow and like drinking and that part. But I don't.
Skiing.
I don't really like actually skiing.
Yeah, I get that.
But like, I guess on the chairlift, like my mom was trying to explain to me. I was like 6. My mom was like, "Here's how you get off the chairlift. You just when you see the like edge, you just stand up, and then the ground will be there." And I stood up, and it was like that net, and I just fell in that.
And it's traumatized you.
I mean, it was kind of scary, but I think it traumatized my mom more than it traumatized me. Because my mom describes it as like, yeah, we were sitting next to you, and you said, okay, and then you just disappeared. So.
You never skied again?
No, I've skied a lot since then. Not a lot, but I was like probably up through like middle school I was skiing. But.
Middle school. And then speaking of school, you went to Georgetown?
Yes.
What was that place like?
It was fun.
Fun?
Wait, it sounds what? I'm curious what you're...
Well, it's an Ivy League, right?
Mm-mm. Oh. But thank you for thinking that. It's not because it's Catholic. So
Ivy Leagues are only...
Yeah, and Georgetown, rumor has it, I actually think this is like documented, but they got invited to be in the Ivy League, and they could have if they gave up their Catholic affiliation, but they were like, no. But they're Jesuit, which is like cool. Jesuits, the ones that are like men and women for others, and like
they're the good ones.
They're like the liberal Catholics.
They're not like Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is like uptight Catholics. I think they're like Franciscan or Dominican or one of those. They're they're a little more. That Notre Dame is way more Catholic.
I never knew Georgetown was a religious or a Catholic school.
Like this is a huge point of tension in my family because my grandparents are like, they're not as Catholic as they. When Obama came and spoke at Georgetown,
your grandparents want them to be more Catholic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like I would say my parents too. Like my dad also went there, and like.
What does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be a Catholic college? Like, do you take a religion course?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I went to
You take
Catholic school my
multiple.
entire life, and that's how, like, we had like religion classes. I just didn't know that they forced that in college too. I know that places like what's that Mormon spot?
BYU.
Yeah, BYU.
Classic
You like
Mormon spot.
they enforce like Mormon rules on.
Oh yeah,
on
it's
their-
not like that. Like, and everyone there is like, I mean, Georgetown again is like not that religious, but like Obama came like in, I don't know, 2012 before I went there, and they like took down the crucifix in the classroom that he was speaking at, and that's like every like conservative who's affiliated with Georgetown is like, that's crazy. Like, but like there was crucifixes in most classrooms.
Why did they take it down? Just because like an optics thing?
I guess
for him.
I guess it is kind of a crazy thing to do, to be like, oh, hide the religious stuff. Like, we have company, but like, I don't know. But there's like a Catholic church on campus. One of my friends, shout out, got married there, and I was in her wedding. It was fun. But there's like priests, and you have to take like 2 theology classes and 2 philosophy classes as part of it. But I took like, my theology class was like a Hinduism class.
Oh.
And then you take like one.
Yeah, but that's not, well, if they force you to take a theology class, I guess. But like,
There's
people
one
study that in regular college.
Yeah, no, it's just like you're required to take, like, I think most people aren't like the like liberal arts like core like would be like a couple of English classes and like a history class, and like for us it was like, and one of the classes you have to take this one class called Problem of God. Problem of God.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, to be honest, I don't know what that class was about at all.
Problem of God. So now let's play a game. What do you think?
Yeah,
they teach in Problem of God
is? God's a huge problem.
I thought it would be like, what does God find problematic? Like,
I think it's like solving the like problem of like, how do we like, I don't even know.
I'm like just waiting for you to say like, get rid of the
word.
Jews or something like that.
Yeah. So here's the problem. They like close the blinds. They're like, okay, don't tell us. Then we told you this, but you get out there, you get rid of those other ones.
Yeah, the crusade starts now.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of like people in consulting secretly working. Yeah.
Because when I hear that it's a Catholic college, like I'm curious, what can they? I don't know if enforce is the right word, but
they don't sell condoms on campus. That's like a thing.
Do colleges normally have an abundance of condoms?
Normally colleges would have like, you can get them for free at the health center.
Yeah.
And like, I worked at like an on-campus grocery store, and it was like a huge thing that we weren't allowed to sell condoms. Because normally you'd have like the convenience store on campus could sell condoms. But it's like condoms were banned from campus.
So just a lot of unprotected sex in Georgetown.
I guess.
What a great dude!
It's a terrible idea.
All of those boys on campus were just probably so happy because now every time that they're about to get lucky,
like, I guess
for
God, I gotta hit it raw.
Do you have a condom? The guy's like,
yeah,
I wish.
Yeah, I
but
wish. Just sign in the cross.
Catholic.
There was a group called Hoyas for Choice, and they were like, they couldn't even brand, because Hoyas are our like, that's our mascot. Right? Yeah.
What is a Hoya anyways? Is that type of bulldog?
No, it's like some like Latin. It's Hoya saxa, and it means what rocks in Latin. It's so silly.
What rocks?
What rocks?
Like actual rocks, or like what?
Yeah.
What's awesome?
It's something like what? Yeah, like
so. It's nothing to do with bulldogs.
It's something about the wall outside of it, and like
great.
Nothing to do with bulldogs. They do have a living bulldog. Is the mascot?
As the mascot, yeah.
His name is Jack. He's very cute. He lived on the floor above me my freshman year. So
the dog did?
Yeah, the dog. The dog lives with a priest. The dog lives with a priest named Father Steck, who lived on the floor above
Father
me.
What?
Steck.
God, I thought you said sack for a second.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be another can of
I don't know
worms.
if this was like 10 years ago, so I don't know if the dog still lives
It's definitely never this. It's like
they are getting.
It's a rotating dog.
I hate to say it, they are getting new dogs. Yeah.
They chose the dog with the shortest lifespan.
Sometimes they also have.
Probably replace it at halftime.
Yeah, they do. Well, there was a time when they had the current Jack the Bulldog, and they already had his replacement.
Yeah, right.
Like they had the puppy. And you'd see the puppy, and you'd be like, "Oh, future Jack!" Like,
man.
Your time's gonna. It's like the prince when like the king dies. Like it was. Yeah, Jack the Bulldog.
I brought up like enforcing mandates or whatever because it's probably a good 10, 15 years ago now. There's this I think basketball player that played for BYU that was kicked off the team and possibly even expelled for having sex with his girlfriend.
Okay, BYU is crazy though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Mormon, whatever. Dum 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 dum.
That's how. Yeah. That is the funniest thing of all time. That it's just like the episode is just them actually explaining the tenets of Mormonism.
There's like very little.
They don't make anything up.
Yeah.
They just go dum 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 dum. It's like.
And that led to one of the most successful Broadway musicals of all time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The things that lead to stuff. But yeah, Georgetown there weren't like, you could get kicked out for doing like normal things you get kicked out of at another college, like, you know.
Yeah. I had a question because when I looked up when I found out that you went to, well, I mean, you told me you went to Georgetown, but I forgot.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. It's that marathon.
It's like marathoning.
Do you guys want to know what I got on my SATs?
No, nobody cares.
I know.
Something came up that I couldn't find any information about because typing it into Google would give me all the wrong things.
Sure.
But you wrote down that you were a part of a group called the Georgetown Rival.
Oh, okay. That's like not really a thing.
When I looked at it, I was like, why does this sound like fucking fluff?
It is. Okay, so this was for like maybe 2 months.
What is it?
It was like I think it started at GW, which is also in DC, and it was like a campus publication news thing.
That's what
I had talked to the guy about it, and we were like, oh, we're going to bring it to Georgetown. I did it for like a month, and then we were like, nah.
Because the funny thing is that when I tried to look up, like,
it never happened. Yeah.
So there's nothing online about it, but then also all I got is Georgetown Rivals Villanova come to town or some shit like that. I'm like, no, this is not what I.
Yeah, no, it was very briefly going to be I was like, because when I was in the business school at Georgetown, which I realized very quickly that I did not want to do business. I was like, this is not.
So you didn't finish in the business program?
I did.
Oh, you did.
But then I was like in my like extracurriculars, I was like, I'll do something. I thought I wanted to go into like media and do something in like journalism.
Well, you were a part of a media group too, right?
So that's when I was like, oh, we'll bring the rival.
Oh.
Like, because I was like, this was like my junior year, I realized it. And I was like, well, I'm never going to work my way up fast enough at any of the existing publications. Mm-hmm. So the way to be in charge would just be to start my own.
Start your own. Yeah, that I get.
But it was an existing, like they already had the website, they already had all this other stuff. And like, I probably had like 3 calls with them and we were like gonna start. And I was like, yeah, this isn't. The main thing I did there was I worked for this like student run company that was like, it was just like a bunch of 19-year-olds running a company and it was really fun.
What did you go in? You business was like your first choice for a major.
Yeah, I was like,
and you stuck with it.
Yeah.
Even though you realized
I wanted to be a finance major, and then I did it and was like, yikes.
What made you want? It was what? I've always wondered.
Money.
Yeah, there's no
100%
ever
money.
has any other reason to be
100%. I was like,
money.
it would be sick to make like a lot of money.
Yeah.
I also like businessy like I think running a show, like there's a lot of business stuff that you co-running a show. There's a lot of like callback. I think there's a lot of like business stuff involved in that. And like those kind of things I like thinking about things of like, but that's so different than doing finance. Like running a small business, because running a show is close to running a small business. Like there's a lot of like, you're doing marketing, you're doing like all these, that I like. So I thought I liked that stuff. And then I was like, oh, I'll get a finance degree. I'll just be rich. I'll be sick. Because I will say being rich would be sick.
Of course.
So then I went immediately was like, college is really fun. It is really hard to actually study. And I didn't get like good grades my first semester.
Okay.
Because in high school I was like I was always one of the smartest kids in high school. And then I got to college and everyone was like the smartest kid from their high school. So it was like, oh, great. Like, that's not going to be my thing here. But that was when I started to realize I was funny more.
Okay.
Because I'd always been funny with my friends. But then, like, in college when everyone was smart, I was like, okay, so being smart.
Something else.
Being smart's not my thing. Like, and I was not into running marathons at the time. So I had to do something else. And then I was like, oh, I'm like funny. That's like.
Is that where it started? Your comedy?
I didn't do any comedy until I started comedy like 2.5 years ago.
Very recently.
But I was really good friends with like. So the Georgetown improv team, like a lot of like John Mulaney was on it, like Mike Birbiglia, Nick Kroll, like Jim Gaffigan, also like a lot of comedians went.
Did
to
they
Georgetown.
all go to Georgetown?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. Okay.
All amazing comedians went to Georgetown, especially me.
Yeah. Exactly. They're all the same.
Me and Jim Gaffigan equal. Yeah.
He opened for the Pope.
Yeah.
And you're also right there.
It's Catholic school.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But they're improv. Like I was really good friends with everybody who was on the improv team, but I was always
never on it.
No, I've never done improv.
You're like that girl. It's like I was friends with everyone that was a cheerleader, but I drove them.
I drove the cheerleaders.
I drove them to cheerleading practice.
Yeah, I wasn't. But now like I live with someone who like he was on the improv team.
Forgets that you run marathons. Apparently,
I know. I have to remind him.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. But he was on the improv team, and like now he doesn't do comedy, but we've kind of switched.
He quit.
I
love that you threw him under the bus to
I love
talk
him,
about yourself.
But yeah.
So what was the first time that you decided to actually do anything?
I had wanted to do it for a really long time, and then I did it once with my now roommate. He and I went to an open mic in 2018. I did comedy once, liked it, and then I lived in Ireland for a year.
2018 when you were still in college?
Right after I graduated, because I graduated in 2018, and then it was like that December, so I graduated like that May.
Where were you?
We were in Brooklyn. I was living in Jersey, and we like commuted in, and we went to like, I think it was at Brooklyn Comedy Collective.
Okay.
I did one mic. I lived in Ireland for all of 2019, so I was moving to Ireland like 3 weeks later.
Oh.
And so I like did the mic and was like, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. I feel like I could be good at that. But then I like moved to Ireland, and I was like,
I never did it again. Well,
until
you came
now
back.
I do it every day.
Why were you in Ireland for a year?
I just like, so after college, I started off business, and I was like, this is really, turns out really bad at this. I got a 69 in managerial accounting, which
you passed.
Yeah. But then they were like, okay, if you want to work at like a good firm, like you're gonna need to have like, I don't even remember what GPAs are, but they were like 3.8 would be kind of the minimum, and I was kind of like sick. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of work, and so then I started being like, okay, I probably want to do comedy or like journalism or like something like more creative. And I thought the reason I picked journalism is because I was like, I can pivot the business degree into journalism more easily. Like a business, I was like, also there's no like job for be a comedian.
Of course.
So I was like, my person who's now my roommate, he and I were planning to move to LA after college to like, I was like, I'm going to wait tables and like do stand up. And like we were planning that, and it was like the summer was going by, and then he got a job in New York. And I was like, actually, I want to go live in a different country. So I just like got this visa and moved to Ireland for a year.
You were like, I need to go where I fit in the most.
Yeah. Yes. I was like, people who hate the sun and love drinking. That's where I belong. It was awesome. I worked in a pub for like 4 months, and then I worked for a theater festival, which was really cool.
What'd you do for the theater festival?
I did marketing for them. But the nice thing about having a business degree is like, I think I've gotten a lot of jobs from it. Mm-hmm. But like, because everybody who's applying to a theater festival job they have like an English degree or like a theater degree, and it's more useful to be like, I actually have this business degree, but I'm interested in theater, and I'm willing to make no money with my.
They probably see that and their eyes get wide, like, oh,
which is really nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I worked there, and then Ireland was sick. Have you ever? I don't know if you've ever been.
Have I ever been? Fuck
I don't know.
Yeah,
a lot of people go to Ireland. It's like
I don't know why, but that insulted me. The way, have I ever been?
Okay, wait, we should go to Ireland. It's really fun.
Yeah, no problem. Let's book it.
Ireland is sick. It's just like all these pubs. You just like kind of drink all the time, and it's really beautiful.
You had to throw in beautiful at the end.
It is like there's like cliffs and like.
Yeah, I saw that season of Always Sunny. I get it.
I didn't see that one.
Greg's pissed right now.
Yeah, I know.
Do you like that show?
Okay, so I like Always Sunny, but sometimes it makes me sad if I watch too many episodes in a row. Sad. I don't know.
That's like my wife can't watch. She enjoys this show, but she can't watch like more than I'd say 3 or 4 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm in a row.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I get that too. Yes,
the cringe like level.
I have that with Broad City too. Like I can only watch a certain number of episodes before I'm like, you guys are.
Is that like a cringe thing too, or?
I've never honestly watched enough episodes of it, but every time I've tried, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cringe, and it's kind of like this feels real in a way that I'm like scared, but people love it, so. It's like Always Sunny though. Sometimes they're doing like such awful shit that I'm like, I know this isn't real, but like, oh my god, it's so funny though.
Did you ever have a background in singing or music, or like you played?
Yeah, you heard my song,
the Corona song.
my Corona song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you were playing a
And
piano.
I have a
in that.
beautiful speaking voice.
Yeah. Obviously. It doesn't grate at
Yes.
all.
Yeah, not at all.
But you were playing the piano in that.
Yeah.
Like, so you can play
Yes.
the piano?
Yeah, I grew up playing piano. I've played since I was like 7.
Man,
Maybe?
you never wanted to do anything music
I
related.
did for a while,
Oh, yeah.
but I was never good enough to like when I was in middle school, I think I was like, oh, I'm gonna I was like, I want to be a musician. I remember when I first
I could
started.
see you be like, you have like you could be a theater kid. And like
you.
you just didn't do it.
I actually think you're so right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be a theater kid.
I don't mean that as a compliment.
No, it's
at
not.
all.
I didn't take it
You
as
give
one.
off theater.
Yeah, I don't think giving theater kid is.
Nothing against
Although
theater people.
I did bravely. Well, let's not say anything crazy.
Lost my Broadway demographic
I
right there.
think that I give off theater kid.
Why?
I
I know
mean-
why, but I want to see why.
Oh, I'm curious what that is.
I'll have to think why. But how do I verbalize? But why
I
do
know
you
it's like
think
it's an intangible quality that you're like. It's something about being annoying and
That's in there.
having a beautiful voice.
That's not. No.
I would say,
Pretension,
pretentious.
pretension
Yeah,
in there.
obviously pretentiousness. I think it actually shows a remarkable amount of restraint that I didn't do theater, despite
God, how did you turn
Despite-
that into this fucking...
spin room, business degree alert.
Yeah, you didn't follow your hopes and dreams. You went
No.
with fucking money.
Yeah,
and
I went with finance. I said, listen, I wanted to do music. I was like, oh, I want to be I want to be like a classical pianist.
Okay.
But then when I was in
The
high
worst
school,
type of music you want.
yeah. But like the one, I was like, I'm gonna go to like Juilliard, and then like I just wasn't ever good enough. Like that was,
really?
I wouldn't have been. I'm a good if you want to hear a mean piano man rendition.
You don't think you could have been like, an background singer in a Broadway play or something,
Oh my gosh, no, I never.
Really?
Yeah, I think you have to be so good to do those things. Like you have to
guess.
be like, I remember in high school I auditioned to play piano in jazz band because at my freshman year of high school I still was like, I'm gonna do music, that's gonna be like my thing, and jazz band was like the best music program, and I was auditioning against this girl Emily who I'm still friends with, but Emily got the spot, and I was like, if I can't even beat
Emily?
Emily.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Well, no, Emily's great.
She's
but
your
like,
friend?
She's my friend. But I was like, if I can't even
be
be
beat,
if I can't even be the best person at my high school, how am I gonna? You know what I mean? Like,
By the way, this is the exact same thing that your friends did when you inspired them.
to run a marathon.
run a
Yes,
marathon.
yeah. Well, no, because she was being. Yeah, I guess you're right. I was like, if I can't even beat Emily,
Then I'm not going to try ever again.
it wasn't that like. But I was kind of like, it kind of made me rethink. Where I was like, if I can't even be the best, like it would require so much. It would have to be the only thing I'd ever do to
Right.
be like
Yeah,
good
yeah.
enough to be like a professional pianist.
Yeah.
And then I think like now when I play, my roommate Austin, not the comedy one, my other roommate, he's an excellent like classical pianist. He's amazing, but like he's so much better than I. Like just because he's stuck with it and like
Sure.
and like I said, I'm more of like you want some Carole King, you want some Billy Joel, like I can play that kind of stuff, but.
Good songs like Stairway to Heaven.
Good songs like Stairway to Heaven. This is a callback to my podcast where I said that Stairway to Heaven was better than EDM because you don't have to take drugs to like it. And I stand by that. That's
Oh my God. That might be the most frustrated I've ever been.
what is your favorite song
Like of all time?
of all time? I don't think my favorite song of all time is not Stairway to Heaven.
Is not Stairway
No.
to Heaven.
I just was like, what's a good song
I
that's
actually-
pretty?
I actually do think I kind of have I don't know if douchey or pretentious favorite songs like if that's accurate to call them, because like I'm a big hip hop and EDM guy,
Sure.
but when I actually, because I've taken the time to actually think about like what I would call like my favorite song or whatever,
Right.
and I can never really have one, but I have like a couple that
Sure.
like have really
Top 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the ones that are always kind of in my rotation, Tambourine Man by Bob Dylan.
That's a good song.
Because I don't
That's
think,
in the vein of Stairway to Heaven.
I
though.
agree, but I
Yeah.
would never fucking be like, I really want to hear Tambourine
Oh yeah,
Man
I didn't want to hear
by
that
the DJ
at
at
nowadays.
like like time and a place, you know, like
It was more that there. Yeah. Okay. A better example would have been like.
no, because then you were like,
And then I said, "Come on, Eileen."
well, that was a worse example.
Yeah, I know. That's a worse song. But
Dancing Queen makes sense, but it's also like the most, because you suggested dance. Like if they played Dancing Queen,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be amazing? It's just also like the most basic answer to that of like all time.
if they played like.
Like next is like, and Rasputin, rah rah.
I mean, low key though, that would have slapped.
See what I mean?
If you're at an EDM club and they're just like unst unst, and then all of a sudden Rasputin came on, you'd be like,
It's
say it
happened
like
before,
that.
but it's usually like, you know,
I'd be like, this is what's
they
this?
finally played a good
Yeah,
song.
finally a song
Yeah.
I know the words to. A song with words. Okay, so Mr. Tambourine Man.
And like for me, it's like that. I that third verse in that song, I think personally is perhaps the greatest example of imagery through lyrics in music that I've ever experienced.
that song.
In Tambourine.
Oh, I thought you meant Rasputin. I was like, Will. I was like, Will.
You almost fired me from your podcast.
I was like,
right
that's
now.
the worst take I've ever heard. I was almost gonna be like, and then I was sitting here being like, maybe it's good. I can't remember the lyrics.
Yeah.
Rah rah Rasputin.
That's why I married a Russian girl.
Yeah, that's
It's
why you
like
married a Russian
it
girl.
all
That's you
comes full
love. It's
circle.
the imagery. It's just about the imagery.
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, can you look up those lyrics? Because like I don't know
what
if
do
I
they
remember
say?
it.
A rah rah rah.
Yeah. Okay. That's so long ago. I don't even know the words.
Don't worry, I'll find them and
Yeah. Find them because I must know the imagery in the third verse of Rasputin.
Besides that, another song I always hold very high in my list, I guess, is "Train in Vain" by The Clash.
Okay.
And that one's more because the lyrics connected with me in a time. The song's all about kind of blaming someone for leaving them in a relationship.
Yeah.
During a time when they felt like they could have used them or whatever.
Sure.
It's very like, you left me, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. But like when I was going through a breakup at that time, I was listening to that song, and I was such a little bitch back then with
Thank you for
heartbreak.
saying it.
Yeah. I couldn't listen to songs that reminded me of my girl because
You had to go on a 25-mile run to get over it.
that is when I started.
You had to run an
running a
almost
lot.
marathon.
Started running a lot, yeah, and then still remember that I'm a failure at the end.
Well,
Thanks.
that's kind of a tale as old as time, is to be like, oh, I'm upset about this person, so now I'm gonna get into.
Oh yeah. Oh, and this is not. I gained weight when I was like with my first girlfriend ever. We were together for like 6 years, and like that last year, I ballooned up in weight.
Yeah.
And then she just like magically, randomly dumped me. You know, like how that works out.
So magic happens.
And then like I never like really. I gained a little bit more weight after that, and then after that, you just see pictures of me. Just
It's like
dropping weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think I joined a boxing gym this month?
Is that what you did?
Oh yeah.
Boxing gym.
Yep.
So now you start training for the Bobcat?
Yeah.
Is
Now
that
I
it
can
is?
fight the bobcat.
Grace thinks she could beat a Bobcat.
Yeah.
One on one. Yeah. That was the.
Yeah. It is a crazy reason to learn hand-to-hand combat, is because you kind of want to lose like 20 pounds, but here we are.
No, I like that. Like I get it. I actually think that learning how to fight should be something like that everyone tries at some
I
point.
kind of think so too. It's been really, really fun. And also I'm like, oh, this is good to know.
Yeah.
Like I should know how to like
just literally throw
a couple
punch,
punches. Yeah.
One of my like not like I'm this amazing fighter, but I'm actually this is your 20-mile.
Yeah.
I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
Okay.
It was like one of those things.
I can tell from the gamer chair.
As long as my mom kept paying, I was going to get the
Sure.
next belt.
Yes.
That's basically what it was. But and I did like a year of very shitty jujitsu.
There's a jujitsu gym around the corner.
Not too far, but I didn't do it here. This was back before I moved to Bushwick or whatever. And again, like your experience with stupid Emily, the talented ass Emily in jazz club or whatever.
She just got engaged. She went to Harvard. Love Emily.
Those are some
those are
jazz musician from Harvard.
Those are her credentials.
Great. Sounds like an awesome person.
She is. She's like the funniest person.
So when I was in like this jujitsu class, I had an Emily moment where I was like, I'm never going to win a fight in my life.
Yeah.
Everyone here is like incredible.
Yeah.
But then you realize like, oh, and now suddenly I'm better than anyone that
people.
has
Yes.
never taken a
This
single
is a great
class.
point. Because I'm so much better at fighting than most people now.
Right, because they've never taken
Yes, they don't know how.
The fact that you know how to throw a punch properly.
Or like how to hold your fist.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like it
I'm not gonna
sounds
break my thumb.
it sounds stupid, right? Like
No, but I think you're totally onto something.
because I think about this, like I the reason I took
You're one of the best people in the world at jujitsu. Like, percentages wise,
yeah, I'm probably top 5%.
I'm
in the world,
probably
right?
top
Like,
5% female boxers.
Yeah.
Like
we are elite.
we're elite.
Yeah.
We're elite MMA.
Exactly. This is what is going to be the title of elite.
Title of
athletes.
elite
fighters.
I know
Grace
we
Lobo.
really are going athletics.
What you guys talking about? Boxing.
Probably
MMA?
boxing, running, MMA, taekwondo,
Crypto.
baseball, skiing.
But I had to. I joined or I practiced or tried to learn how to fight because I actually got my ass kicked a lot growing up.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for like I've said it on my show before, but like I grew up thinking it was normal to like get attacked, like
Holy shit.
and it wasn't until like high school where I met other like guys and I'd be like, yeah, like the first time I got jumped, and they'd be like, the first time, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, how many times do you get jumped in your life? I'm like 6. I don't know. Like I've been hospitalized for it.
Holy
like,
shit.
Like I and they were like, that's not normal, dude. Like, and I didn't live in a terrible area. I live in Flushing, Queens. It's not that bad.
No.
I just had this target on my back. I don't know why.
What were you?
And for like dumb things, like literally for like walking on
Me
the.
being like, what were you wearing?
Honestly, that one time I wore a pink shirt that didn't help me out.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like, and it would be for something like why are you in my building? And it like I'm dropping off my girlfriend.
And you were a kid?
Yeah, like 12 years old.
Were these adults beating you up or kids?
14, 15-year-old, you know, like.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so, and like I've gotten held up at gunpoint, like in the middle of the day. So this all like, when I was younger, I had anxiety walking around. I realized now.
Understandably.
Yeah, and I realize now it's kind of like PTSD.
Yeah.
And I'm an anxious person in general.
Gotcha.
So when I was younger, would always look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
I used reflections in like storefronts to see behind me all the time because I was like,
I mean, if I
can
got
be
jumped
attacked.
once, I would never walk around the same.
So I think about or thought about, and to this day I think about it a lot, like just what I would do in altercations.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And that's why, like, I did jujitsu because like I just realized I'm not a strong person. I'm not. I will probably never be able to outpunch somebody.
Yeah.
Someone that's never taken a boxing class can still punch harder than me.
Yeah.
But like if I take like a little bit of jujitsu, these motherfuckers wouldn't know what to do once the fight gets on the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did start having this stupid irrational confidence where
That's
where
awesome.
like I'd be walking down the street and I'd see someone that would normally intimidate me and I'd be like, I would hug the shit out of that guy.
Yeah.
Wrap him
It's like-
between
it's
my
like me and the
legs
bobcat.
and then put him to sleep and he
Yeah.
would have no idea
Yeah.
what to do. And I'm not as
It's
afraid.
empowering though, like to be like, oh, I'm okay.
Right.
If you have a gun, obviously, I'm fucked.
Well, that's why I think that everyone should, like, on some
Yeah.
level, do this. I don't really envision myself having kids, but if I ever did, I would want to put them in
Especially
something
like
that.
I'm I'm kind of like
100%.
women should totally know how to
Mm-hmm.
at least a little bit fight.
I agree.
Like,
I agree. The what I was gonna say though, in terms of the fighting, is that the moment that I started taking any of these classes, I never got into another altercation again.
yeah, of course.
And I'm
Now that
like,
you're prepared,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, I'm always terrified on the subway. Then the time I put pepper spray in my purse, I'm like, oh, everybody's cool down here. Like,
Nobody wants any of this now.
yeah. I mean, it does make me feel better. Like I don't know, because I do be taking the subway late at night, and I'm like,
I have this it's not really a theory, but I have this belief, I guess. And when it comes to like guns and people owning guns, I'm not
Sure.
I'm not as
six.
I'm not as anti-gun as we're in Bushwick right now.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure that you can trip and fall on 20 people way more passionate about gun control than I am.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, you want a gun, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
But I have this thing about when like a lazy, out of shape person says that they own a gun because for self-defense, and then that person's never even taken one single self-defense class in their
Yeah, it's
entire
like
life.
you don't care about self-defense.
It's like if you really cared about protecting yourself, Why have you never learned how to throw a punch?
Yeah. Learn both.
Yeah, you should be able to defend yourself with your hands and with a goddamn AK-47 or
also,
or
yeah, you
AR-15.
definitely don't need an AK-47.
It's like is that like, is it because you've never wanted to do a physical activity in your life that you feel like you need an AR-15?
You think you'd be bad at it? What are you scared? Huh?
So I've always thought like, hey, you want a gun? Cool. But you also
learn
now
how
have to take
prove
self-defense.
it. Yeah. Learn how to use a sword.
Show us that self.
Show us a sword.
Take a
Get a
fencing
bow and
course.
arrow out. Let's see what you do with that before we let you upgrade to a gun.
Fencing looks like a sport you would have played.
Thank you. That's so mean. It's not in theater kid. I'm just giving in Connecticut. Wow. It's
Fencing theater kid vibes.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of friends who did fencing as well.
Not shocked.
My friend has a theory that gun control will be fixed if all women can have a gun and no men can have them, and everything in the world would be fine. And I actually think it's kind of crazy. Low key, I think we can trust women with guns. School shootings, almost never women.
Yeah.
If women and then women are the ones who actually like mostly need
the guns
to protect ourselves.
So you're saying that
I can have a gun in my purse. That's the rule in this society. No men can have guns.
Okay.
All women get them. All women get a little pistol, like when they turn 18, you can put it in your purse.
A little cute one.
Maybe you're like 16. You get a little pistol, put it in your purse, and it's like no one would ever fuck with you on the subway
well,
because they see you. They go, every single girl on here is packing.
Sure.
And legally men can't have them.
And you think that like murders would go down?
Oh yeah, because like women, I think rarely are gonna be like, I'm gonna shoot someone out of just like. I think most women you could trust with a gun. Not all. I think
I would love to just see the rise in like sports clubs just getting shot up in that first month or two.
Yeah. But like, okay, if a woman wanted to shoot up a sports bar, like she could. Like women can still have guns in our society. We just prevent men from having them. So the number of mass shootings will it's like one a year immediately.
You might be right.
Think how many female-led mass shootings. It's the ultimate glass ceiling.
So are you of the same belief then, like if women were all holding positions of power, there'd be no war?
I don't think there'd be no war, but I think there'd be much less. Yeah. I just think women are like more like I think we're just less violent. Like
yeah. But I think so.
But I think like, and I think they can like women can just be trusted more with like they're less likely, I think, to like abuse power.
I feel like if women were just in power everywhere, there'd be like less war, but countries would just be like way more passive aggressive to each other.
I totally agree. And that does like play into like
it would just be 40 Cold Wars.
There would be so many Cold Wars. It would be like the group text at the UN would be out of control. It'd be like, so we're not talking to Syria. They're being crazy.
I can't even right now with them.
I can't even right now with Ukraine. They're just it's
just a lot of passive aggressiveness, and they'd be cliques. They're UN.
Totally.
There would be the UN, but then there would be like the side
it's like
UN,
us in Canada would be like.
What would be the cliques if in UN?
Cliques. I mean, I feel like they'd be kind of geographic, and I feel like they'd be kind of racial.
So I thought geographic, but I'm like, there's no way USA and Mexico would click up, right?
It's us in Canada and like the UK, and we're like bullies and bitchy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then like, but
you don't think that America and the UK would look at Canada like and be like, no, like?
I feel like we'd be like nice to Canada, but we'd be like, yeah, like you're our friend.
You know what? Yeah, we'd be nice because America would be like, yeah, just let them hang.
It's like their little sister coming along to hang out. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, we can just like ignore them. Let them. They're fine. Yeah. I think that's how
do we still is Canada still cool, or did Trudeau just completely?
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, it's like their reputations keep shifting.
Yeah,
so
right?
It's like sometimes you're like Canada's being really cool this week, and now it's like we're like out on Canada. We don't fuck with them anymore.
Someone's got to
Canada's
figure
over.
out what's up with Canada.
Canada's done.
So and then you're saying would all the Asians click up, or I feel like they hate each other too much.
Yeah, I do think that's true.
Like I have this Korean friend that he just got mad that Ichiro was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's for no other reason than he's Japanese.
That's when I was in Japan. I have a joke about this, but when I was in Japan, we had a cab driver be like, "Oh, you're going to Kyoto next? Like, great time to visit Kyoto. Very few Chinese people there this time of year." Yeah.
See, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Because
the-
you're just like, and I was like, I can't even tell you guys apart. No.
Yeah. It's
well, kind of.
I remember thinking like I remember, of course this came from a white person, but like some white person was like no, not even, I'm lying. It was a black person was like, oh, minorities can't like
Be racist.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, no.
And I remember thinking like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's cool if you guys want to hate white people, but like the racism I've heard from like, yeah, inter-Asian racism
we're terrible
is
towards
crazy.
each other. Yeah. Like I know, I grew up in Flushing, so I know that the Asians within themselves fucking fight. But then as someone that's Puerto Rican and Colombian, I know for a fact that people look at my Puerto Rican side way different from my Colombian side.
Yep.
And like we all look at Mexicans in a different way, you know, like there's definitely levels to this. And like I had a black friend. I like that it's like I had one black friend.
And it's in the past.
I had one. No, so I did have a black friend. No, but
say it more.
say it more awkward. I had an Afro-American. You know,
I was friends with an African American gentleman one time 5 years ago, and
he was a fan of the NAACP.
Yeah.
Perspective member.
Yeah.
Which weird ass name too. Like you know what that stands for, right?
National Association for the Advancement of Colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does feel weird now that I'm saying it out loud. I'm like, wait.
I wanted to see if you would say.
I was trying to see if I could remember it. I was like, I almost said NCAA. I was like National Collegiate Association.
What? Oh,
yeah,
so he was
he
was telling me how he's Haitian, and he's like, yeah, we always get disrespected. I'm like, oh, really? What do you mean? Like, I thought like, yeah, you're black, you're cool with all the blacks. He's like, nah. You know, Haitian to us is like Mexican for y'all. And I was like,
whoa.
God damn. First of all, perfect.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head.
But also
perfect.
I understood Haitians like forever from that moment.
Well, that's even like white race. Like I feel like
what's the Mexican of the whites?
Italians.
Really?
Oh my God. My grandma, so we're like Irish, and my grandma will be like, my grandma first of all calls it Italian. Because my grandparents grew up in Brooklyn, and so their neighborhood in Park Slope was Irish, and one street over was Italians.
Okay.
But the Italians, it was like they were lazy at the port. My grandma will say stuff that's like, it's like, she'll be like, well, you know, Italians, they're practically Africans. And you're like, Gigi. She says Italian, it's just a whole.
Italian is so old school. It reminds me of like the Rocky movies or something.
That's
like
how
that.
my grandparents talk.
Yeah.
And my aunt is married to a guy who's like, you know, and also that like, obviously when I say Irish, it's like people who've been in the US for 200 years, but like still are identifying as, but same with like my aunt married an Italian American guy, and like, yeah, it's like a point of, but my grandma, it's so funny. Her best friend is Italian, and she has a granddaughter who's my age, who I'm good friends with. And we'll laugh because like the Italian grandmother and my grandma hates Italians so much, and the Italian grandmother hates Irish people so much, but they're best friends. And like I overhear my grandma say to me like so much anti-Italian stuff, and then like my friend who's my age, she'll be like, oh my God, well, you know, Annie just hates Irish people,
but they're friends with each other.
Best friends.
Wow.
But they don't like actually hate them.
Yeah.
But like we found out, we did like an ancestry DNA, and like it came up that we were like, my brother did it, and it was like 3% Italian or something. And my grandma was like, that's not.
This is wrong.
And it's like, and then obviously like famously, the Jews are not the most popular among the whites.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, I just, in my family, like we're very Italian. It's harder to.
Italian is the
and I mean like, and then people love to be like, oh, like the Irish were, when they moved here, were like I guess Irish people were not considered white for a long time. Like,
well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like there's always waves of like what was
which one's out
the worst type of white to be, and I mean like it all depends on who
there's the
waves
garbage,
of immigration.
there's the garbage whites. But I'm one of those kinds.
And the three types of white people that you just named, all at one point were like considered to be the lowest class white, ghetto living people. It was the Jewish people, the Irish people, and the Italian people. And the only thing that happened is
the entire population of New Jersey can fit into those.
The only thing that happened is like if you got here first.
Yeah,
you
set the rules.
Whoever got here after you was worse. That's all it was.
Well, that's like the word WASP, which is like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and it's like those countries are also like Ireland and Italy are both Catholic. So most of those people were Catholic, so they were also like But yeah, it's like Irish or German and English people are the like old stock.
Yeah.
There's only been like every American president except for like JFK, Biden, and Obama is like a WASP. It's crazy.
Well, JFK was the first
Irish Catholic.
Right.
Same with Biden.
Okay.
And then Obama is obviously black.
The first of all, yeah.
But
everybody else just Protestant or whatever.
Protestant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Trump Protestant? Is that what he is?
Yeah. He's not Catholic. I would know.
So you voted for Trump, obviously.
No. I was gonna say I would know because I'm sort of an expert in Catholicism due to my Georgetown education.
Because of your
I did vote for Kamala
upbringings.
despite the fact that I thought the Democrats should give me someone better to vote for.
Oh, of course.
But that was a crazy expectation that they could.
When
It was just when Biden was like, "I'm gonna run again." I was like,
I mean, when
What?
he said he was going to run the first time, I was like, what? But
I know.
when Kamala became the candidate and the entire left just gravitated towards her, I remember thinking, oh man, like she's still
Not gonna do it.
yeah. I'm like, she's still gonna suck.
First of all, she's a black woman. Americans will
No.
like that's way too many. Like no,
Yeah,
they're never gonna pick her.
yeah.
It would have been awesome.
We didn't learn our lesson when we put up a woman against Trump. And
A
it was
white woman against
woman.
Trump. Yeah. Like Americans really.
And
hate
then
women.
we said, you know what'll work this time? A black woman.
Yeah, now we got him, and it's like no, like yeah, I don't know. I would have. I mean, Bernie's so old, but I was like, just put him in. Like, give us him. I don't know. I want them to give us like a new guy, like
We need another just.
a primary.
We need a. Well,
Do a primary. The Democrats love to just be like, this is my. I vote Democrat. But my problem with the Democrats is they're so like, we know better than you. So they'll be like, here's who it is, and you're gonna vote for them.
Mhm.
This is it. And they don't give you like the Republicans are like out here being like, who do you guys want? Trump? Okay. And it's like,
yeah. that
it's
is
like
what
that's
happened.
not who I want, but like at least they're checking. They're like, who do you guys want to see? You want to see more Trump? All right, we'll get him in
Let's
here.
go for it.
And the Republicans, like even the Republicans in Congress who hate Trump, they're all like, you guys like Trump? We'll do whatever you guys want. If you want Trump, we'll give you like.
But
at
that's
least they
also not the
listen.
first time I mean, there's precedents all the way back to,
Totally.
to Schwarzenegger in California
Yep.
running as a Republican, and Ronald Reagan when he became president, he was a fucking Hollywood
But they listen.
star.
They're like, who do you guys want? Like, and for us, they're like, how about we do like Kamala from Joe's season? Like, they're just like, we're bringing back people. Like, they don't bring in a new person. They're just like, here, how about this one? Like,
It was just an uninspired choice, and
I mean, I get it. They had like 5 seconds to choose one, but it was just like, yeah. But I didn't vote for Trump. I want to be clear because I did come off very Trump supporting
you
on
just
my own
look
podcast.
like it. You just look like you did.
Well,
Before I send you off, we mentioned it earlier on, and we'd be remiss if we didn't.
oh, my show, Pucker Comedy.
Yeah, of course.
Now I can see his notes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Way to like fucking
Ruined.
kill. You know what? We're not talking about this at all. So why do you like Trump so much?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sandbag you for the rest of the fucking. No, let's talk about.
It's like a clip together. I voted for Trump.
Yeah. How did you? Oh, first of all, so you told me you got into comedy like two and a half years ago, and you've basically had this show for almost as long. It seems.
A year and a half. So the first year we didn't. I think a big way like that early.
By the way, who do you run it with?
Anna Koppelman. You've met her.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry.
you
For the
haven't mentioned-
audience, I run it with dear friend.
You've
of
tried
mine.
to take all the credit for the show
Yeah,
for the entire.
I produced. No. I run it with Anna Koppelman, who is also a very funny comedian and one of my dearest friends.
You met her here in New York.
Yeah. I met her at a mic.
Oh, cool.
And then we just like hit it off. And then I think it was her idea to start the show.
Where did that decision come from?
So I think a lot of the way you get booked early on, like so many comics at my level have a show because you book people and then it's like a Ponzi scheme. Like you book people and people will book you because you have a show and they want to get on it.
Oh,
So like people, I know I get booked more now that I have a show because people are like, oh yeah, I want to do her show. So I'll book her. But like, you can't possibly book everyone who books you on their show.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I'd love to get you, but like, and I'll try to get them. But then there's people where you're like, yeah, I'm not.
So it was a method to
It's like visibility and like, yeah, getting
network and
networking. Although it's it's so fun. Like,
did it come from a place because like you weren't getting booked, so you just figured
we were getting booked a little, but like the advice, I think Anna had gotten this advice from someone. They were like, if you want to like really start getting booked and like ensure you have stage time every month, like start producing your own show.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, we'll try it out. And like, it's been awesome. Like our show, just people we know have been very supportive of it, which is really like sappy, but genuinely very sweet.
Your first show, what was the venue?
First one was Anna was living in an apartment in Williamsburg with like 4 people. So it was like a big apartment.
So it was an apartment.
It was an apartment.
Because from the pictures, I was like, what the fuck kind of venue is
Yeah,
this? There's people sitting on the floor.
Yep. Yeah.
Someone had like no shoes on.
Yep.
I'm like, is this an apartment?
Mm-hmm. It was an apartment.
And I remember thinking like, how like punk, how like.
It was kind of DIY. Like it was really fun. Then
I looked at the flyer. It was like DM for address. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It was an apartment.
I once threw like, not once, a couple of times, I threw an all day like party, and I had like 7 to 8 the next one.
Yeah.
But it was like, like a 10-hour party,
Sure.
right in the backyard. And I like, got like 7 or 8 DJs together, and they all had time slots. And to promote it, it was like DM for details. And when
because
I saw
you're
that
not going to list your own address.
Of course.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, this
must be an
motherfucker did it in an
apartment.
apartment.
Yeah.
But then the second show, you guys already had a venue.
Second show we did at the Delancey on the roof.
The rooftop.
Yeah, which was fun.
So the first show that you did in the apartment, did you do it there because it was just the easiest thing to do?
It was on my 27th birthday. And we just were like, because we were like, oh, that'll also get so many people to come if they know it's like on my actual birthday. Like, people will feel like, oh yeah, I'll come. Like they're doing this.
Was it mostly friends, or did you see people that
mostly
like, you didn't
mostly
recognize?
friends?
Did any like strangers show up and like
that one? No.
Okay.
That one was all friends. Now we get like more of a.
But like, so I'm guessing now you could take that the I don't know, the details of the first show, the pictures and all that, and show it to the Delancey and be like...
Yeah, and be like, well, that's what we did. We went to the Delancey and we were like, hey, we have this show. We've sold, I think it was like 75 tickets to the first one. So that's why people on the floor, like it was... And then we probably sold in like 50, 60 at the Delancey.
But that's for a show, for a comedy show that with no history. That's pretty incredible.
I think though, I really do think it's like I have a very supportive like network of like friends and family, which is, and so does Anna.
Greg and I have noticed this because
with
the
our
numbers
podcast.
with the podcast is very when I see your numbers, I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to have supportive friends.
Yeah, I do. Well, I also come on, you guys. This is gonna be your most listened to episode of this podcast.
Fucking bitch.
But it is like I'm from like I grew up like an hour away from the city. Anna grew up in the city. I have like 9 million cousins, so they'll all just like be like. And then I feel like I was doing comedy for like a year before the show started, year and a half, and like people. I think people like were like, oh my God, you do comedy. I want to come to one of your shows. And it's always like, yeah. People are always being like, oh, I want to come see, I'll run into somebody at a party or they'll be like, oh my God, like you do comedy. I want to come. And so then once I had the show, I was like, hey, if you've mentioned to me in the last year that you want to come see me do comedy, like this is the one. This is when I want you to come see me do comedy.
Have you guys been on every month since?
No, we actually just took January off and we were almost gonna have to take February off, but we did get a venue. That's the one thing about doing it as a pop-up. Like we've done it at an ice cream store, we've done it at a pizza place, we've done it at like yoga studio.
How do you go about booking these?
It's
these
usually
spots?
people we know. So like my cousin owns a yoga studio. So I was like, oh hey, can we do it at your yoga studio? And she was like, that'll be awesome.
Okay.
Or we'll have like Anna the pizza place we do at Anna's like family friends with them. Okay. So it's like because she's from the city, she knows way more of the.
That's always seemed like the most intimidating and besides the whole will people come aspect of a show.
Yeah.
I've always found the actual like talking to someone to book a venue.
I mean, pitching it's scary because you're like, are we going to be able to like, every show we do, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to get anyone to show up at this.
Of course, yeah.
Like I'm always like, but we sell out almost every show just because we on our hands and knees beg people to come. Like, and we're like, but it's scary. But then I mean, some of it's just like Milk Bar where we've been doing it recently, which is such a fun venue. Like we just like sent them an email and they were like, oh yeah, like. And
is this now like? Have you been at the same venue for a long time now?
No, because Milk Bar will only do it with us quarterly. Which just because they have other events like, and it's a good relationship, but like because we actually tried to pivot into doing it there permanently and then we were like let's pitch it to them. And they were like, let's keep it quarterly. And we're like, okay. But they were like, we want to keep doing it. It's just we don't have the, so we do it quarterly there. And then like some of the venues like love the yoga studio, love Delancey Rooftop, but like we can't sell 75 tickets every month.
Yeah.
So some of them are harder to sell out. And then you're just like, some places are more work than others. Like some places have their own speaker. And so we don't have to deal with bringing our shit. But
and then when you guys do this, are you guys selling, refreshments or people? Or is it
usually it's at a venue that has like, so like Milk Bar, we bring in, they don't have a liquor license. We bring in alcohol and we just give it away for free.
Oh, that's funny.
But they sell like cookies and like sweet drinks upstairs. So like people can come get like a milkshake and stuff, which people do. Like, I think also people like it now that like sobriety is like more in.
Yeah.
Like people like that it's like, oh, it's a sober, and it's not a sober event. We're literally giving away free beers, but right. People I think like that it's like not centered on.
So young people are like the biggest demographic in the sober movement.
Yeah. I'm doing 75 days of sobriety.
Wow.
How's that for pretentious? I didn't bring up 75 hard until right now.
But you brought it up.
I did bring it up. It's because I'm not actually doing a real 75 hard. I'm doing like a half marathon version of 75 hard.
I have an entire bit that about how I lost a friend. I lost a smoking buddy because she stopped smoking weed to be a flight attendant.
Oh my God.
But she still does every other drug because it stays in your system just less.
That's so funny.
But the worst part about it isn't that I lost a smoking buddy. It's how high and mighty she got.
Yeah,
because she's able to quit smoking. Yeah, so.
Do you smoke weed? Yeah.
Every day, yeah. I smoked before this podcast.
Nice. I haven't smoked weed in years.
I'm a very high functioning. Well, like I can smoke weed and go out running 25 miles, but not 26.
Not 26. I could, if I smoked weed, I'd be like, I have to lie in my bed for the next 6 hours. Like,
oh yeah, no,
it doesn't agree with me.
I can't really function without it. I feel like
really
it's I consider smoking weed to be the biggest reason I passed that physics. Because that physics course.
Take that dare program.
It's because you know what? I truthfully, what would have happened is every time that I got frustrated by something, I wanted to rage quit, and like walk away. But instead, what I would do is I would just start smoking and like take 5 minutes away from the page and smoke, and then just suddenly relax and just get right back to it. And then
there you go.
I'd be able to figure it out eventually. I just wouldn't let that anger get to me and like walk away from the problem.
You're like chilled out.
Yeah. And I smoked so much while studying because I needed to like.
I guess that makes sense.
I got frustrated so much, but like when I smoke, I can still think. Like I can still like. Yeah. I don't know. It's not like I'm not the typical stoner that like is cloudy minded once they smoke. Like I enjoy talking less when I smoke, but it's not because similarly. But it's not because I'm unable to formulate words.
Sure.
It's just like I rarely like. I've always said I hate small talk, which is weird when you are a bartender that podcasts.
Yeah, that is weird. That's why you're so mad at me every time I get home. It's like it's really cold.
Anyways, the last thing I wanted to go through was just I went through some of like the roster of comedians you've had on your show. Yeah. And first of all, I was going to ask if it's ever weird asking people to be on your show, but you kind of said people want to be on your show.
Even like big people.
So that's what I was going to get to, because like
Do you see Che? I can see their
I love some of these names like Zach and Jack. Like those are our friends. They're friends. And I think that there are some up and coming comedians.
But okay, Zach and Jack were not my friends the first show we did.
Oh,
like
really?
Zach and I had done a show together. Zach hosted a show I did.
Zach Gish, by the way.
Yeah,
who's funny. Who's on the road with Greg this weekend? Actually.
Oh yeah. By the time this comes out,
it'll come out next week, so they'll be back and have bombed already.
Yeah, so, they'll already be heading their heads. Zach, I had seen he hosted a show I did at Broadway Comedy Club, and he literally not a name drop at all, but he I was like, oh, that guy's so funny. And then I knew Greg and Jack in passing, and I was like, oh, he's friends with them. Mm-hmm. And Anna and I really wanted to be friends with specifically Jacqueline. So we're like, oh, we're gonna like book her and like be her friend. Yeah.
So you forced this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's funny because we talked about it later, and Jack and I think our other friend Steph, they were like, we saw you and Anna. We wanted to be friends. It was like
Wow,
a mutual,
that's
like,
funny.
we're going to get those friends.
And now you guys are all
Now we're
friends?
really tight, all of us.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
What was it about Jack that made you want to?
Honestly,
be her
Anna knew
friend?
who she was more than I did. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, she seems cool. Like,
Okay.
and then Anna was like, I think we should be friends with her. I was like, I'm totally down. And then
And it happened.
And Tails all the time. Now we're one of my very good friends.
There's something that I think happens in the like New York comedy scene
Mm-hmm.
specifically where I think it happens only within the circle of comedians, like because we'll start following each other on social media.
Yeah.
And I think it starts becoming, I think it becomes a little obvious when a comedian starts gaining traction.
Yes.
And because I remember
So you're talking about me right now.
not
Yeah.
at all. One of the people on your list, I remember following her and keeping an
Is
eye
it
on
Casey?
her. Casey Shornima.
She never actually did our show. She had to cancel it. Yeah.
So never mind.
We booked her, but same thing. You know what? For her, I looked at that one was like,
By the way, Casey Shornima is now a writer for Weekend Update.
Yeah.
She got passed at the Comedy Cellar like within the past year, maybe,
Oh, yeah, did
maybe year and a
she?
half. When I worked there, she wasn't passed yet. When I started working there, she wasn't passed yet. But I had kind of, kept my eye on her
Yeah.
because she was up and coming is an understatement in the New York area. at
yeah,
least.
she was. I had seen her on like, well, sometimes it's like you see people on other people's shows, and
Mm-hmm.
then I also watch so much stand up on like Instagram.
Yeah.
Like Reels will give me a lot of stand up.
Sure.
So it was like I think she was someone who would come up for me, or I looked at
Same for me. Yeah.
maybe I'd looked at. Do you know Sesh Comedy? Obviously,
Setch comedy?
Sesh.
I feel like I've heard this before. But
Sesh is like it's like a random comedy club on the Lower East Side. It's pretty good, but I looked at their Instagram because I was just like, who do they book? Because they're like, I would say they're like comics who are like pre the Cellar. Like they're not, but they're all like quality and going to in that direction.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of looked there and was like, Cellar comics are harder to book because they're on at the Cellar all the time. But
Why would they want to? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always found it interesting when like Greg and Jack will get a Cellar comedian to close one of their new kids
Yeah.
comedy shows. I was like, what? I'm surprised that they.
sometimes though, what I've noticed is bigger comics will treat your show like what I would treat an open mic like.
Yeah.
To me, like being on a show is like any show. You're like, I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
It's only recently that I've now started being like, I'll try new stuff at shows and like bring out the notebook kind of thing. But like, yeah, I feel like sometimes for them, they're like, oh, this would be great. Like, yeah, this is, I'm not getting paid more than $20. This is like low stakes and I could try out material. But I've noticed some people, like, I can see your list. I don't know if this is annoying, but I know you have Emma Woman on there. She did our show and like, there's comics whose names I won't name who like, clearly they're treating like a mic and they don't care how they do.
Mm-hmm.
Emma murdered on her show.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, you can tell she's working through new stuff, but also you were like, it's so clear she wants to have a good show also,
Mm-hmm.
which I respect so much. Because I'm like, yeah, if you want to use my show to try a little bit of stuff, like that's totally fine. But like, we've had people get up and be like, hey, you mind if I bomb on here? Che Dorena also crush every time. And I'm like, I mean, we had him on a show that was like 75 people. So it's like, I think he didn't know what he was getting into, but
Okay.
he like, I think he was like, yeah, whatever, I'm doing this as like a favor. Cause he and I had hung out after like a show maybe a year ago. And then I kind of reached out and was like, we'd love to have you, whatever. When I met him, I also didn't know he was like huge online.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, holy shit, you have like a lot of
Like a following. Yeah.
yeah. But
It's, you know what? I like his comedy, but the only reason why I think I still don't follow him.
it's a lot of
It's
a little porny.
Oh no, I don't even know what that's about. I don't
Oh.
like the zooming in on his teeth. Do you know?
Yes,
what I'm
I
talking
do know
about?
what you're talking about.
Every video he puts out just ends with a zoom in on his teeth, and it cringes me out. So
I like
much.
it.
Really,
I don't know.
a lot of thousands and thousands of people do.
Hundreds of thousands of people.
It's the one reason why I
Yeah.
don't follow him. I wish, like, if I could just not see the teeth zoom in, I would
yeah,
think
well,
he's
Che,
hilarious.
if you're listening, well, has a note, one note.
No, keep doing what's. I should zoom in on my teeth.
Yeah,
if
it's
gonna
working
get
for
me
him.
the
Yeah,
followers.
yeah.
Fuck
It works for him.
Sometimes
Sometimes he'll
whatever
have
works for
like porn stars on that he interviews,
Oh.
and so sometimes it fucks up he'll stitch with a lot of like sexual videos, which I think is
Jeez.
a good way to get views. But sometimes because
Oh.
I follow him, like stuff will come up
Yeah.
and I'll be like, What am I like? I'll, like you just open your phone and it's like, this is someone I follow on Instagram. So it comes up sometimes when I open my phone and it's like a woman, like doing something that's not actually sexual, but has a sexual, and then he like stitches into it. But yeah, it's a little
not your cup of tea.
I think he's very funny, but he's someone who we've had him on my show. And like, there was another comedian on the show who I won't name, who was kind of like, came up to me, he was like, can I bomb on your show? And I was like, we have 75 people here. This is a packed room. Don't fucking bomb on my show.
Oh, you told him that?
Well, I didn't say that. No, I was like, haha, yeah, whatever. Haha.
But in your head.
In my head, I was like, that's kind of a dick move.
When he says, can I bomb, do you think he meant like, I'm working out new shit?
He would have been bombed. It was like pedophile jokes. And like, people didn't, and they weren't finished or funny. And I'm also like, if you want to try a couple new jokes, fucking go for it. Like, whatever. I get that you don't want to try them at the cellar. But like, don't bomb on my show. Like, like you want to try new stuff, go for it. But like, then also do like some, like there's a reason we booked you. You're funny.
He was just bombing for the sake of bombing.
I mean, kind of just trying to try new stuff. Obviously it was a man, but yeah. But then Che went up after him and like people were like, holy shit, that guy. And he was like, at one point I remember, because I was like, we booked him to do 10 minutes and he was like, I think he was just having fun. He was like, can I do 15? I was like, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you're also murdering. Like people, yeah. But yeah, it's just a mix when you get the bigger names.
Do you have any, without naming names, I guess that's a pretty nightmare story, but do you have any nightmare situations with booking the show in general?
We have people cancel last minute, which can be annoying. Like we had one where 3 comics canceled like within 2 hours. It was all like, one was like something stupid, but 2, it was like one person, her flight got canceled, and one guy like had food poisoning and went to the hospital.
Oh,
but it's just like, those aren't, you're just like, and then it was the one, you always have like one person falls through usually.
Okay.
Because they overbook or like,
And then, but you and Anna also do like full sets too, or are you guys just hosting? You're doing.
We co-host at the beginning. We like bump mics at the top, and then we each do a full set.
Do you guys close out your shows, or do you let someone else do it?
Like the headliner.
Do you guys ever headline your own shows, or
Not usually. Usually we'd have like a bigger comic. But I mean, the way we say it, also, so many people who come to our shows are people who know us in real life, who want to see us. So it's like there was a time where I was like, should we each do 8 minutes, and we can book like more people? And Anna was like, it's our show, we should do 10 minutes. I was like, that's actually a good point. Like, yeah, it's my show. Like,
what was this is kind of what I want to leave you on, the process of getting the show on the New York Comedy Festival.
We just applied.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
What is it like? Do they actually have like something to fill out on? I don't know why I did this. I'm guessing it's online.
It was online. Yeah. It was more of a Google form. But
what does it entail? Like, what do you have to be to
I don't know,
qualify?
because a lot of people were like, I think a lot of people's shows get in it. Like when you look at that sheet that's like show.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot.
It's like, and they're all tiny print, and we're like, Anna's also really dyslexic, so she was like looking for like our show, and she's like, am I crazy or I can't find it? And I was like, it's in there, but like I can see it, so it's there, but I had to like zoom in.
For anyone that's not familiar, like the New York has a comedy festival every year. It's in November, and the only reason I know that is because the Comedy Cellar gets bombarded with like big names.
Crazy,
yeah, it's pretty cool. But there are I wish it was like a actual like Sundance type of film festival where everyone's gathered like on the same street or something like that.
I think it's hard in New York. Like,
course,
I think if it was in like, and I need to do more festivals. That's like one of the things I want to do this year. But there's festivals in smaller places where I think it is much more of like the whole town turns into like festival.
Right.
Like,
and that's not what it is. Yeah. It can't
I just don't think any festival can be that in New York.
I don't. Tribeca isn't even like that.
Yeah, no, because it's just like,
it's like they're showing a movie in this theater uptown and then a movie in the LES. And like, there's no communal feeling of like we're all here for
versus like you go to a comedy festival in like Newport, Rhode Island, it's like, okay, the whole town is
right,
and it's overrun by these comedians who.
Or back when the Just for Laughs festival like was a big deal.
I think they might be coming back this year.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear that Netflix as a joke is kind of like what's taken over that.
That makes sense.
And Skankfest too, I guess.
Yeah.
So. But what it is here in New York is basically there's an entire list of comedy shows going on for about 10 days that will get promoted through this festival.
I will say I don't think we sold any tickets through
because of that.
No,
really.
There's so many other shows. Like if you're really into New York Comedy Festival, I think you're not going to be like pucker comedy. Like that sounds great.
Right,
and we had a great lineup. We had a really cool venue. Like it was such a fun show, but like
it didn't feel any different from your other shows.
It felt like a great show because we were like, okay, we're going to book like, we try to book people who are our friends on like some of our shows, and we also book big names. Like it's usually a mix, but this one we went like, everybody was pretty
bangers.
Yeah, we pulled out all the stops, and people were like, that was my, like, we have a lot of repeat people come and they're like, that was my favorite one I've been to. But
so like, would you want to do it again this year?
Totally.
Okay.
Just because it's also fun to be like, ooh, it's our like,
I think
New York Comedy Festival show.
Yeah, I feel like it's something more about like, I feel like it looks good on the resume or type of thing, or
totally
good on like
as seen in.
Yes.
It's also nice. Like this is kind of bullshit, but I like going up on stage. Like I've never had a credit, and like it's kind of bullshit for it to be my credit.
I was looking for.
But like I will now give people like, I guess technically you can say New York Comedy Festival.
Yeah, of course.
They'll be like, you've seen her New York Comedy Festival.
No, you haven't. But yeah, it's true.
You guys probably didn't see me in New York Comedy Festival.
But I've heard comedians like themselves, they'll talk about how doing the Tonight Show nowadays means so much less than it used to back in the day.
I think it does career-wise, although like if I found out that a comic had been on the Tonight Show as a comic, I would be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It still means something from a like, as someone who books shows.
And that's what they were saying. They were saying that it's a credit that buys them more
credibility.
With shows.
It's like a blue check.
Or with like, even if it's when you're at the Cellar and you're of a certain age and you're listening to these comedians and someone's introduced, your ears tend to perk up just a little bit differently when they say you've seen them on Jimmy Fallon, like, or you've seen them.
Totally.
As opposed to
they're on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like me too.
They're on YouTube.
I mean, Netflix I think probably now has the most like
the cachet. Like, Netflix special.
HBO, Netflix, but like.
If someone hears that they have a Netflix special, it's a little bit more than.
Which brings me my latest announcement. No,
you're on CISO.
Yeah. Me and my 2,000 Instagram followers and our Netflix.
All right. Well, with that being said, I guess before I get you out of here, we should at least mention one more time that you do have your podcast.
I do have a podcast that Will co-produces called Hill to Die On.
What's been your experience so far?
Of having it be
podcaster.
I like it. I feel like I need to post more like stand-up clips to my grid, so I'm not but to my page. So
in general, comedians should be posting stand-up
clips. I
think
think that's a priority for me this year is to get more. The problem is it's like you want it to be like on like a quality tape. And you're like, okay, I want it to be...
Man, but I've like rarely seen good quality stand-up clips out
I just feel like what I've heard is if it's like not like recorded on like whatever the quality of the video is not good enough, the algorithm will like punish you for it. So it's like I don't want to waste I have jokes that I'm trying to clip, but I keep getting like, or it's like the day I record it, it doesn't come out good, and it's like I have like.
You're so tough on yourself.
I know, but I'm also obsessed with myself. But I think it's like, I don't know. It's been fun. It's been, I think, a good like rip the Band-Aid off of like being more comfortable posting, because I normally am like, ugh, God, I have to post a video. Then I'll like...
You're comfortable on the mic. You're not comfortable with the promotion.
No.
Yeah.
Which sucks because now you have to do both.
Well, I mean, at least you're in a position where, Jack's doing a lot of the actual... Like, could you imagine if you had to cut the reel up yourself? Or
I
whatever?
wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd be like, sorry, you guys, we're not doing clips.
It's my like albatross. Like, it's like, I like this part, but then having to like, all right, now I should do like 3 or 4 clips of this. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. And I like having it out, but like sometimes I'm like, it's just weird having that much more content. Cause I also will just like go off the rails and talk about whatever.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's like, sometimes you're like, I shouldn't have said that person's name. Like I shouldn't have said that. That's,
at least
my mom's gonna listen to this.
You guys are doing it sober, so that's a big help.
Yeah,
I've done so many of these drunk where like the next day I'm like, what
did I say?
And people will like come back like, oh man, when you said this, and I was like, oh shit, yikes. I said that. I had a guest that wanted me to take out an entire episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because
sorry, I'm gonna be that. No. It's all the offensive shit I said.
He felt like he got too drunk and yeah, he didn't really like how he came off or whatever.
Damn.
Even after like edits and
Name.
whatnot.
Just kidding.
I mean, if you guys just do some like searching, you'll see that there's like an episode skip.
Yeah.
The audio I think is still there, but on YouTube it's not there or whatever. And then it's frustrating. It's annoying. You know?
Well, even like I know on my podcast that I co-host,
Nice.
I said something about like drugs in like an episode recently, and now I'm like, oh, I need to run that by like my friend who works in HR to be like, I'm not gonna get fired from my job.
Wow, that's
because it
funny.
is also different. Like I feel like since you, Greg, and Jack like work at the Cellar, I just feel like they're more like I work at a big corporation.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like I feel like I'm just at a weird part career wise where it's like I have a little bit more of a platform where I can and should be talking about like what I talk about in my comedy, but I also still have a job.
You have a corporate ass job.
Yeah.
Me and Greg aren't going to get fired for a stupid joke we say on
No,
the
so that's
podcast,
also why I'm a little pickier about like what clips we post, because Greg's like, we can't afford to not post clips. I'm like, right, but I also can't afford to lose my health insurance. Like, so
I don't think any of the clips that you
no,
guys
I don't
have
think so
right now
either.
are
Yeah,
gonna do
there's
that.
just like there's one part of like a recent episode where I'm like, oh, I might have to bleep, but then I don't know. I'm gonna ask my.
Well, you know what's funny is that I was going through your Instagram to see, you know, shit to talk about, whatever, and like your first, well, you pinned it. Your first video,
It's the bush.
Yeah, it's all about you describing different types of bush and your reaction to them, and talking about your own bush too. And when I saw that video, I was like, this chick is shy about other reels. Like, what in the world?
No. Well, because I like that joke to me is so funny.
Yeah, wow, you're very humble. I appreciate
that joke was like, that was the first joke I ever wrote where I was like, oh, this is funny.
Yeah, it is. It's funny.
So I was like, and I don't feel like it's like, it's obviously like about something sexual, but it's like, I feel like it's a smart way of talking about something sexual. So it makes me feel like I'm like, and it's fine. It's fine. I make jokes about Al-Qaeda in it. So it's.
Whereas Greg just finds all the dumbest ways possible to talk about the sexual things. Yeah.
Yes. Greg is dumb. Listen to my podcast, Hill to Die On. It's good.
Very well sold.
Yeah. You have to follow Will Bryant. Will is on my podcast sometimes, and he plugs his socials. He goes, BRYANT every episode. It's great.
I love that you're telling them that.
Do you do it on this podcast?
Do you want to see the way
I do. I do.
All right. You know what? I'll usually like record an outro after, but I'll just do it.
No, do the outro now.
I'll do the outro, right? Well, guys, just do me a favor. Be sure to follow her at GK Lobo. Follow the podcast that she co-hosts, that I co-produce, at Hill to Die On Pod.
At Pucker Comedy too, if you want to follow.
Oh yeah, let's be sure to follow her show that she does with Anna Copeland. I believe she's at Anna Copeland.
Anna Rose Koppelman.
There you go, Copeland. Excuse me.
It's okay.
And yeah, you guys already know how you can support me, but if not, I'm going to remind you one more time. You can follow me on all platforms at I'm Will Bryant. It's the same thing on every platform, whether it's Instagram. Welcome back, TikTok. Thank you. You're President Trump. I'm on Threads, Spotify, YouTube. It's all the same thing, the same 3 words. I'm Will Bryant, BRYANT, like Kobe. And thank you, Grace.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Being here, appreciate it. Like I said, watch that other show, Hill to Die On, coming out every Wednesday.
We're both in it.
You can hear my voice sometimes, but yeah, I'm very much a silent player.
Very much so.
We've got a lot more of that coming your way too. It's been fun to do that. Fun to work with you. And that's pretty much all we got.
Bye. Okay, crushed it.